In this episode, I speak with Kasia Rutkowska-Parkes, an energy healer and one of Orykl's vetted practitioners. We talk about the later chapters of life, what it means to step into your authentic self, and why it can be so hard to speak our truth. Kasia shares her path from a structured life in Poland and the corporate world in London into the softer, more intuitive world of energy healing. We also explore how our bodies let us know when we're out of alignment and how simple practices like tapping can help us come back to ourselves. Enjoy. Kasia Rutkowska-Parkes, thank you so much for coming on the Orykl podcast. You are one of Orykl's vetted practitioners. You are an energy healer. You've been accredited by the College of Psychic Studies. You also have a degree in economics and modern European studies. And you're certified as an EFT practitioner or emotional freedom technique or tapping, something we've done together. You're also a life alignment practitioner, and you're really passionate about helping people reclaim their authentic selves. And I know that to be true from having spent time with you. So thank you for being here. Let me just start off by asking you this. In this period of your life, what do you think is your mission? What is it that you are focused on?
Thank you very much, Val, for having me here. I'm really grateful. And it's interesting you ask about this period in my life, because it seems, and I feel like I'm entering the later years of my life and maybe the wise woman period. And I'm definitely not there yet, but it's pulling together everything I've learned so far, experienced so far, and deciding what's next. How do I want to live this next chapter of my life, which I'm really glad that it's talked about now, because before the older women, women after 50, were not talked about, they didn't exist. And now we are very lucky to be able to talk about ourselves and exist.
Absolutely. In fact, I recently did a podcast with a man called Ron Pevney, who leads the Center for Conscious Eldering. And we had a beautiful chat about the later years of our lives and how to live consciously, and kind of what you talked about, being the wiser woman. And there's something to be said for that, because we let go of some things, but we also gain something that we didn't have before, and we can do something with that wisdom. And I've spent time with you. You came to Cape Town not too long ago. We had a beautiful day together. We did some tapping together. Let's talk about that journey and how you got to do this kind of work. But let's maybe go back to when you were a little bit younger in your life. I know you're originally from Poland, but you traveled quite a bit. Can you tell us a bit about your earlier years growing up, and in particular your link to religion, spirituality, or what you believed in as a child from your parents or from your upbringing?
Wow, okay. How much time have we got? I was brought up in maybe not communist Poland, but definitely socialist Poland in the 1970s. And it was a very complicated situation, because my father was in the army. He was an officer in the army. And we lived with my grandma, my sister, my mom. And my mom worked. My grandma was very religious. So she Catholic, Christian Catholic. So it was really her influence that drove me to a very deep devotion to religion, going to church, which was forbidden then, so it added to all the drama. And my father being in the army, he wasn't really allowed to go to church, so it's very difficult to explain, but it's what it was like. But I felt really deep connection to Mother Mary, to church then. And so I continued. I went for religion lessons, and obviously I went to school normally. Then I studied economics, because it was almost through choice what I don't want to do. And I didn't want to be a doctor, I didn't want to be a teacher, so I chose economics. The choice was smaller then. And I finished, got my MA, moved to England. I got married, moved to England. And then something happened, something shifted, because I went to church in England as well. And something was missing. I started missing the spirit, the spark, something spiritual. And it's how my journey started, looking for this something extra, which I couldn't find in religion.
And it often is that way, isn't it? I've experienced it myself. I think so many people have experienced it, and it hits us at different times in our lives, I think. Oftentimes, maybe a little bit later for women, once we've had the children and done the work, and then we find ourselves with maybe more time to think about our lives, and we realize we're missing something. But sometimes it's earlier. Do you feel that you had a special connection to spirits when you were younger growing up, like maybe some sort of sixth sense? Or would you say that you were pretty standard, that you didn't feel anything beyond what you were told?
I would love to say that I was special, but I think with me it was more being conscious that there's something more than stuff, just the everyday stuff, 3D stuff. I think I was a thinking child, so just looking for a deeper meaning. Obviously, 10 or 15, it's different, but this feeling that there must be something more to it.
And is that what drove you to study psychic studies?
No, yes, maybe yes, maybe not. What drove me to it was a different situation. Probably it was part of it, but I was in England, I worked in the city, and I was made redundant. So working in the city really gave me the feeling of the masculine energy. Everything needs to be done, everything needs to be logical. Being brought up in the sort of military environment, military area, I was used to the masculine energy. And I liked it, I enjoyed it, that things are done, you're logical, it's physics, maths, it was okay. But then I worked in the city and I was made redundant and I decided to set up a business in Poland. I always wanted to have a coffee bar. Somehow it's in my psyche. I would like to create places for people where they can meet, exchange opinions. I don't have to participate. I just create a vessel for them. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for various reasons. I wasn't ready. I'm probably not a business person. And then it was the first night of the soul when I said, who am I? What am I doing? I'm failing. Things don't work out. So you go really deep to try to uncover yourself. It's not to reinvent. I was uncovering myself. And this is what took me on this journey. And there were many stages. This was the first thing that took me there.
And what was the first thing that you looked into, and how did you find that first thing?
The first thing was rebirthing, and I don't know why. It was something I was getting, rebirthing. So it was work with breath. Through breath, you go back to different stories in your life, different points in your life, or different points in the energy. And I met a lady who really helped me on this journey. She was an amazing, still is, practitioner. And we had, I don't remember how many sessions, but we did this rebirthing process that really helped me. It was my first contact with something different. Then I started reading books, getting interested. And she suggested that I do a course in psychosynthesis, because I started going for psychosynthesis sessions with her as well. And she said, oh, you're ready for group work. I said, I'm not, but I did. I did a year in psychosynthesis. So there's a lot about visualization. We work with subpersonalities, with our own power, but it's really concentrating on ourselves. It was the next stage. Towards the end of this course, I met someone by coincidence, but I believe there are no coincidences, who became my mentor. He was a psychic, a healer, an amazing person. And I remember going to him for a session for reading and sitting there and saying, what am I supposed to do with my hands? And he said, but you are a healer. I said, no, I'm not. It was like, what are you talking about? No, you are, and I will teach you. So I started learning with him. visiting people, learning, and I signed up for a course in the College of Psychic Studies in London. It was a healing course. I was accepted. Again, surprise. I don't understand what's going on, but I just follow. And I did a year intensive course in healing, and I became a certified, qualified energy healer. And my neighbor said, oh, my friend is looking for someone to work on. She's doing this thing called life alignment. Would you like to be a guinea pig? Would you like to be a client? I said, of course. And I went, and at some point during the sessions, being on the bed, I thought, this is energy work. This is psychology. This is working with body. I've learned about it. So why not put it together?
Yeah.
And do the life alignment course. And I did. I've trained, and I also became a teacher. Now I'm using it more as a tool. I wouldn't say I'm a life alignment practitioner. I use life alignment as one of the tools I use in my toolbox.
Yeah.
And later on, the EFT came, another tool I started using. And yeah, this is where we are now.
Yeah, we keep adding on. It's very, there's so much out there, and a lot of it actually overlaps with each other. And I think every practitioner is completely unique, because even though they may have done similar courses or the exact same course, they will bring lots of different things that they've learned throughout their lives and combine it into one session, right? Even an EFT practitioner's session is not the same as the next one, because they will have from their own experience whatever they bring in. This is energy work, right? So it's not black and white. And tell me, what have been some of the recurring themes in your life that you've struggled with, that you think you came here to learn? And how has your understanding of energy and spirit helped you to overcome those themes, those struggles?
Well, I think one of them is speaking my truth, definitely. Being able to say what I want, what I need, and express it freely, and so that people understand. And actually today I sort of was looking at something, and I realized I was born with Mercury retrograde. So even in my chart, my expression is hindered. This is my lesson to learn here to how to speak and feel worthy, feel good enough, that I deserve for my needs to be met, for my wants to be met. So I think this is a big lesson, and obviously then it affects relationships, work, the whole life. If I can't express myself freely, or if I block myself, nobody's blocking me, then it will influence my life, definitely. So this is one of the biggest things.
I think that's such a universal issue that we all face. I don't know too many people that are truly themselves, or I think now maybe more so. But as we grow up, we all play these roles that society, our families, our friends tell us that we should be. And it's so hard to find ourselves in the journey, right? Because sometimes we don't even know who we are. We are the mother, the daughter, the parent, the sister, the student, the worker, and we play those roles. And I think it's okay to play a role, as in, we are parents, sisters, and workers and so on, but to keep our authentic selves, to say our truth, and to really be who we are in the process is hard. For some reason, it's hard. Even though when we see somebody who is very much themselves, we like it, we recognize it, we tend to be drawn to somebody who's not a fake, who's just themselves, right? But it's very interesting that we struggle to get there. What would you say is like a tip that we could think of, or we could apply to allow ourselves to just be ourselves? How can we do that? And how can we recognize when we're not ourselves?
Oh, okay. Okay, one thing is the feeling. When you are yourself, you feel it. And you definitely feel when you're not yourself. Your body is tight, your heart crunches, you may shake, something doesn't feel right. So this is the first sign that you will know. Actually, something is going on here. I'm scared, I'm fearful, I'm pretending, I want to impress someone, I'm not myself. Because as you said, sometimes we don't even know who we are, but our body knows. It gives us a signal, this is not true, this is not right. And I think it comes with practice, this being observant. We talk about presence a lot and being present, but just noticing that this doesn't feel right. It's not right, it's not good, and our body is telling us this. And once we've caught ourselves that something is not right, what do I do with it? And it comes again with practice. And with age, I've learned that I'm not that important, because we think, oh, what will people think? People are too busy to think about ourselves. So it's really not that important what people are thinking, and I'm not that important. But it comes with practice, it comes with age, it comes with experience. And if it happens you are not yourself, you behave the way you wouldn't like to behave, don't beat yourself up. It's a journey. You will do better next time.
Absolutely. What would you say is your particular gift?
I think I see the potential in people. I see what they are capable of. And my role is to really help them see it as well, and to encourage them to step in their highest self, into the highest potential, and not doing it for themselves. Healing is not doing it for the other person, but holding the space for them, so they realize what they are capable of, what's possible, what kind of healing is possible, and they can do it themselves. My role is to be the guide, the person who holds the space for them.
And how do you help them do that? Because it's interesting. I also so often see the potential in people and they don't see it themselves. And sometimes it happens the other way around, where I might not see it for myself and people see it for me, right? How do you help somebody step into their potential?
It's by using my intuition, first of all, and feeling the energy, but also using the tools. I've got the tools, why not use them? I use them on myself, keep working on myself as well. And during the session, when someone comes for a session, obviously we have a conversation, and I can use life alignment and check what's the priority in this moment. I can intuit and guide them into visualization, meditation. We can use EFT, so tap on the meridian points to clear something. It really happens during the session. I never know how the session will develop, what will happen, but we are guided. We get help from the universe, and it seems that we get to the point that helps people to see the spark, see something that, okay, yes, I can do it. I've never looked at it this way. Or some kind of realization and a shift.
Yes. Can you maybe explain the science, if you want to call it that, behind EFT? Because you said you tap on the meridians. Explain how you tap, where the meridians are, and why it works.
So meridians are the energy lines in our body, and they are used in Chinese medicine. So they've been known for many thousands of years. And actually they've been found now. So some scientist, unfortunately I don't remember the name, he's found these energy lines in our body, so they actually do exist. And in Chinese medicine, in acupuncture, we put needles in specific points. And in EFT, we don't use needles, we use tapping, so touching with the tips of our fingers. And the most popular method is we start with tapping on the edge of our hand and stating something. it's usually the thing that we have a problem with. So even though I feel not good enough, I love myself. And we tap here 3 times. We repeat it. So I will guide the person. I will give them the statement, but obviously they can always change it. If it doesn't resonate with them, they can change the statement. So we start by tapping here. Then we tap on the edge of the brow, edge of the eye, under the nose, on the chin, on the collarbone, under the arm, a bit lower, not just under the arm, but where the bra strap is for ladies, and on top. And we keep saying statements, and I will be sort of intuitively working with the person. The statements will come, and the person will guide me as well, because, this doesn't resonate. I want to say it like this. So we work together. And in the beginning, also before we start, we will measure. So how uncomfortable are you feeling now? How fearful on a scale from 0 to 10? They may say 9. Hopefully by the end of the tapping, it will go down. Sometimes it goes up because it brings up stuff. So we keep tapping and we keep doing the energy work to lower the emotional charge, the energetic charge of the issue.
Pretty much anyone can benefit from having a tapping session or really a session with you. But is there a type of client that you particularly enjoy working with that tends to get the best results? Is there a type of client that fits your profile the best?
It is a person who is committed to themselves, who is committed to their growth, who after the one session says, no, it's not for me. Sometimes people get so deep during their first session that they may get scared, I don't want to deal with it. I haven't got time to deal with it. I had a client once she was ill, seriously ill, and she was so deeply committed to her recovery. She did sessions with me. She changed her diet. She did a lot of things, and she succeeded. It's really an amazing who can do it and who allows other people to support them, because okay, she could say, I'm going to do it myself, but she also asked for help. So these are people who want to achieve results, but they're also open to receiving help.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. I asked that question quite a bit from practitioners, and pretty much everyone says the same thing. It is really about that commitment, because ultimately there's so many tools we can use to heal ourselves, and we heal ourselves, right? And so if we have that commitment to healing, to growth, we can find it. And we just need guides like yourself to help us along the journey, who might resonate more with one or another or with a certain modality. But it's the commitment that is the most important. And I think that's something important for everyone to remember, because it isn't so much the technique or the person, it's you. How committed are you? How willing are you to grow? How willing are you to look at the shadows, the difficult stuff to look at? Because it's not easy, as I'm sure you know, to heal, to change. There's a lot of pain and trauma, and it's not nice sometimes to go in there. But if we don't do it, we'll be stuck with the same issue, the same patterns. And so it does take that commitment. It's so important. Tell me, you've learned a lot in your journey as a spiritual practitioner. What is the one thing that you particularly have learned in your life in your spiritual journey that's helped you the most to live a happy life?
For me, it was people, that I have amazing people around me. Meeting through my learning, through my life, I've met so many amazing, inspiring people, and I'm really grateful for it. And I'm learning how not to judge. I hope I'm judging less and less, because I know we all have a journey. We all have something going on in our lives. And this non-judgment is really helping, because it doesn't take away my energy. Of course, sometimes it kicks in and it happens, but just let people be. I want to live the life I want to live, and I have to allow others to be themselves. And I say, choose your battles. You don't have to fight with everything. You have to fight for everything. And it really makes for a happy life.
Okay, well, maybe to wrap up, I'll ask you two more things. One, is there something that you would love for the whole world to know and embrace about themselves that would make a big difference?
I think one thing is this: stop looking at what other people think. As I said before, people are too busy to keep looking at other people. So really give yourself permission to live the way you want to live your life, because later on you don't want to regret things that you haven't done. It's not good to regret things you haven't done.
Well, that reminds me, the biggest regret of the dying, they did a study and they asked them what the biggest regret was. And the number one thing is that people regret not having lived a life that's more aligned with their true selves. So a life that others expected them to live, instead of just really listening to themselves and living the lives that they wanted to. And knowing that, for me, has actually been an important thing to remember. I've always got it at the back of my mind, and I try and live my life every day to my own tunes, right? To the things that I really want to do that really make me happy. But it's a journey, and every day we get sidetracked and so on. But it's a good thing to be reminded that we want to get to the end of our days looking back and going, okay, that's a life that I wanted to live. It was my choice, it was my life, and I chose it. Nobody else chose it for me. And last question, any last messages that you would like to impart?
First of all, thank you for getting to the end of the recording. I hope it was brought something up for you. And the message is, yes, exactly what we were talking about. Try to do things that resonate with you, that feel right for you. There may be little things. Let's start with little things. You want to go for a walk, or you want to read a book, or you want to talk to someone. There are these messages. Sometimes you think about someone and they call you. So if someone pops into your mind, do contact them, because sometimes, unfortunately, it's too late to do anything. So follow your intuition, follow these little glimpses of, I should do this, I should do that. And I think, yes, life will be better.
I agree. Well, thank you so much, Kasia. Thank you for being on Orykl. Thank you for coming on the podcast and really for doing what you do and living your authentic life as much as you can.
Thank you very much. The journey.